What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Got a review for you. Let's get into it. Super excited to check this one out, guys. We have a knife coming in from Kershaw that everyone has been talking about, and I'm super stoked to get to check it out. We're looking at the Kershaw Bel Air. Really interested to check this out. What we're going to do today, we're going to do some size, profile, weight, and cutting, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impression, guys. Shout out to Kevin. Thank you, Lefty ADC, for allowing us to check this one out. Not all of us are cool enough to get these in from the vendors, but Kevin is cool enough to share it with his buddies and fellow YouTube content creators. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and jump into some profile comparisons. All right. Woo. I ran around for a second before we flipped to this part. All right, we have the Towser K on the table and the Devo Growler V2 on the table. You can see this is a smaller guy. It's a little bit smaller than the Growler V2 and just a touch bigger than the Towser S. Let's look at a couple more. All right, guys, we got a couple more on the table. We got the Manix 2 lightweight with the applied weapon tech scales on the top. You can see it is larger than your Bel Air down here on the table. I don't know why I'm shaking everything. And then we have your Para 3 lightweight with the applied weapon tech scales as well, because you guys always ask me, and it is pretty darn comparable, man. You got just a little bit more length overall on that Para 3 lightweight, so this is a smaller guy. Let's look at some of the profiles on this one. All right, guys, we got the Towser S, which is very comparable closed up to the Bel Air, and the Para 3 lightweight, which is definitely going to take up more length and more girth in the pocket. So you can see what it looks like folded up, and then just lining them up with the pocket clips, you can see the Para 3 lightweight sticks out the most, and the Bel Air and Towser S just a little bit more length going into the pocket, but I mean, truth be told, all these are going to be very minimal, taking up that space. Let's see how it compares with thickness, because you do have steel liners with aluminum scales that are raw aluminum scales on the outside, but look at that, guys, coming in thinner than your Para 3 lightweight. Pretty interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and check it out against the Towser S. Again, full steel liners with your rich light scales. I said micarta in a video and somebody quickly corrected me. I apologize, you guys. It was a gaffe, not a misnomer here on what is actually a rich light scale versus micarta, but you can see the Bel Air is much thinner. Now, what I am curious about is the weight. Let's check that out. Okay, we got the scale out here ready to go, guys. I keep shaking everything. Keep bumping into it because I'm sitting too close. I need to back out, but then I can't see on the screen when I do that. What I'm getting ready to try to say, or want to say, is you got steel liners with aluminum scales, steel clips. So I do expect this to be a slightly weighty knife for the size. So coming in at 2.9, and I'll be honest with you, I expected this to be 3.5, so kudos to Kershaw for keeping it under 3 ounces. That's really impressive. Let's go down to the garage and do a little bit of cutting. It's a little because it's a pass around, but let's just see what this is like cutting. All right, guys, let's see what this Bel Air is like. We got, what is this, Magna Cut? Yeah, Magna Cut steel, very premium steel, USA made Kershaw. And again, this is a pass round, so I am feeling a little bit of blemish on there. We'll try to knock that out here in just a second, but let's just check out the geometry on this one going through that cardboard. We got our single ply cardboard here. This is a pass round, so I can't do a ton of cutting. Excellent bite, and it feels very slicey, guys. Yeah, this one here is 100% going to be a slicer with a ton of bite. Not wanting to bite into that really wrinkled piece. There we go. So not bad at all. Also going through some tape here. I didn't realize that. So I'll go ahead and clean it up and strop it real quick, and then we'll check it on the paper in just a second. So I was taking it through the strop, and for some reason on the pocket clip side, it was feeling a little wonky. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but let's just see together. Okay. So it was sharpening back up or stropping back up. Feels really good now compared to how it started out. Might have been a little bit of a blemish there. So I might work it out a little bit more before I send it on to the next reviewer. Even though it's feeling okay, I'd like for them to get like what I would consider a factory fresh edge. But we'll kick it back up and talk about ergos and everything at the desk. All right, we are back and fully impressed. I'm not even going to lie. Fully impressed with the Bel Air. They did a great job. Just a couple little nitpicks that we'll get to as we go through this. But the scales on here are nice. It is aluminum, but you have such a great position here with where you have your cutout for your index, where you're able to hold everything else. It is 3.5 finger grip for me. Again, it is a small knife. This is going to be like a summer weight carry knife at under 3 ounces. Just very comfortable. Even though the pocket clip does kind of land right here, it is so flat and they left so much of the pocket clip exposed here that when I go to grip it, it's very comfortable. I can squeeze and I do feel a little bit, but as far as like indention or anything like that, not much being left. The fingers do fall in on the opening where you have it for your screws, but this angle on this one, unlike the launch, which was a little bit more of an acute point, it actually is a little bit nicer. I think this one is not quite as short either, so I'm not really feeling it dig in too much, but I do feel locked in. I have a little bit of jimping here, which is going to help guide through your push cuts, and then if you need a little bit more power for whittling or whatever, it's going to do a really nice job as well. Everything is really well constructed. Nothing's loose. It's locked up tight. No up and down, no side to side. You do have bearings in the pivot, so it is going to open and close very smoothly with minimal effort. If you do it a little too hard, I'm used to my bug out on washers. I give it a little bit of a kickstart, I guess you should say. You don't need to do that with this one. This one here is going to just fall shut. The action feels smooth. The lock bar is not grabbing or gritty at all. It is very, very well dialed. Kershaw continuing to do an excellent job here. I can't remember if they're ceramic or steel bearings, so let me check that real quick. I should have pulled that up. My bad, guys. Yeah, unfortunately, the first site I pulled up just says bearings. Doesn't really say if they're ceramic or steel, so I apologize. I think when I took my iridium apart, I think they were steel bearings, and that is kind of typical. USA-made knives using steel bearings, but they may be ceramic. You may want to look into the comments for someone that perhaps owns one of these and is already disassembled, since I can't do the disassembly, to get your answer for that. So I do apologize for that. You got a little bit of jimping here as well for your two fingers to kind of share, or it could be the ring finger if you're hanging off the back. For me, it actually helps the pinky just a little bit more because I can almost get two of those jumps on that pinky, so it does feel, fairly locked in. Again, it is a small knife, so I'm probably not going to be using this for a lot of hard use tasks, but if you have medium to large hands, this may actually really suit you. As far as the detent, I know I don't have both fingers up, and the thumb studs, really, really well done. You got it pretty low, not as tight in as I would like, but it is pretty low. And then the springs and the tension and everything feel good, so it feels very snappy and it has good sounds. Yeah, it just fires. To me, guys, crossbar locks, you should be doing them with thumb studs. I know people want opening holes, and I totally get it, but if you want that lock strength that the crossbar lock brings to you, thumb studs are really the way to go to make these feel good. And the tighter you can get them into the body, and below the pivot, the better that action is going to feel on here, and the less you're going to have people complain about that slop that you do typically get with a crossbar lock. But I mean, this is pretty locked in here. They did a great job. Now, the pièce de résistance is going to be that this is done in Magna Cut steel. Unfortunately, both variants that I looked up are coated, which means it is going to drop it a little bit. I saw when Kershaw did an uncoated blade test that they posted themselves, it was 63 HRC, I think maybe even 63 and a half. So let's using that best case scenario, you're probably looking at 62, 62 and a half with a coated blade. MagnaCut is stainless. You don't need to coat it. That's purely an aesthetic thing, you know, take it or leave it, I guess. Very interestingly, they decided to put the clean pivot or the sterile pivot that is captive here on the pocket clip side, and they put the hardware all on this side. So, you know, you can't flip it. It's all into the scale and the liner. So it's going to be that type of construction. To me, it doesn't look bad, doesn't look great. Looks okay. The blade itself is super, super thin. This thing is a laser beam. Again, Kershaw, another one coming in with a phenomenal edge. They did a great job on it. You know, 62 HRC is not going to be optimal. You know, it's going to be just below, right? You want it at 63 to 65, I think, for MagnaCut, if I recall correctly. I think that's optimal range for MagnaCut, but 62 is not going to be bad for your folder. You know, 62 probably even better for your fixed blade. But, you know, as I learn on MagnaCut and as people, you know, get more information and share more information, MagnaCut does have a generous range for optimal heat treat. You know, I think 62, you're going to see better performance than you will. You know, let's just back up a little bit. So coming in at $149 starting, you're talking about a USA made knife that is okay. So yeah, it looks like the cheapest mini bug out is coming in at 153, and you're getting FRN scales and S30V. I would argue that you would probably at 62 HRC see similar, or if not close to similar, edge retention on 62 HRC MagnaCut as you're going to see at a properly heat treated S30V. I can't speak to what that S30V from Benchmade is, you know, coming in at, but they've been doing it a long time, and I've had S30V Benchmade in the past, and it's performed well. Like, I feel like it's held a very nice edge, has not been chippy. So you're getting this for less. You're getting MagnaCut, which is a more current steel. Different traits as far as edge retention, strength, and corrosive resistance. You know, I think it's arguable. I really say that, you know, either one is going to be a excellent steel that's going to be much better than anything in your budget realm. Overall, I really like this, guys. I think that the design is very nice. I love the aggressive drop point here, sheep's foot blade, if you will. And the action's very nice. They did a really good job with the construction. USA made. I think 150 is very competitive. For example, I was able to, I think, pick this up under 140 for the lightweight, which had S90V. It was a Sprint. FRN scales that were really well done. You know, they were thick with bidirectional pattern. So more comparable to your mini bug out, in my opinion, but very, very competitive price point. You got the compression lock versus the crossbar lock. You know, that's just something to take into consideration, is that you are getting steel liners, which is going to be a little bit more robust, and you're getting aluminum exterior scales to help with the robust, but also keep that weight down, because you do have thin liners that are keeping this under 3 ounces. Alternative recommendations, I am going to say the Spyderco Para 3 lightweights that can be disassembled, that do have something a little bit better than the S30V steel. Anything that you can find, you know, Rex, 45, S90V, they do, I think, have they released the MagnaCut? Because I'm thinking that actually might be the Manix 2 lightweight that I'm thinking of, that's on their salt line for that. So they may not have done that one yet. You can look at the bug outs. And the reason I'm making this recommendation, this is a full-size bug out. It's not a mini. So I think that the Bel Air, I almost called it the Livewire, the Bel Air probably is going to be a little bit better than the mini. The mini is going to be probably just inside, and then the bug out's going to be just outside. But again, if you can find a good steel on sale, And you're also going to have a little bit more with the aftermarket support. This is a great example. I have the Applied Weapon Tech scales on here. I was able to pick up the 20 CV variant from Blade HQ when they were doing a sale, so I got mine for 120. So that's, when you find sales on the bug outs, because I know they're a little bit, over right now. They're getting really close to 170 for them, for S30V and FRN, which arguably and understandably people get upset about. But when you can find them on their sales, because they usually are in stock, and you see them around Memorial Day, 4th of July, etc., where you can get them on deals, especially when you can find a cool steel that they're done in. That's where I think that the bug out does become a compelling argument. But having said all that, that's because of the aftermarket support, not necessarily that I think that the bug out is better than the Bel Air in this instance. I think the Bel Air is exceptionally well done. I really do like it a lot. And I love the fact that it's USA made at that price point with the materials and the build quality that you're seeing here. And you may find them on sale once they've been around for a little bit. When they first release, you usually don't see them get into those sales around those times of year, but those sales will happen down the road later. And if they're in stock in the future, this could be arguably the better buy on sale. Now, my last alternative recommendation, if you want something a little bit more premium, a little bit more utility, it is a little bit bigger, but I still love the Datsun here from Vosteed. One of my favorite crossbar locking knives. The action's phenomenal. I know it comes with ceramic bearings. Great weight, but you're getting titanium on the scales and on the pocket clip. Very good action, very snappy. You get a second mean of deployment, which works surprisingly well. I didn't think the front flipper would work great. It's good, for sure, but it's not excellent. What's excellent here is the thumb stud action. They got it far enough away from the pivot, tight into the body, so it's super satisfying to deploy, and it has remained solid. And you do get that reverse Tonto on there for 210, and you often can find Vosteed, now that these have been in stock a little while, on sale, so you can get them for under 200 bucks, and you're getting the extra titanium, and you're getting very well done M390. This thing has held an edge fantastic. I have no complaints. So those are my alternatives, but truth be told, this is an easy recommendation. It is smaller, like a bigger version because I have bigger hands, but outside of that, I have no legitimate gripes. Great sharpening tool, great edge. The stonewash looks awesome. I do like the aluminum on here. I guess the only thing I could say, instead of doing full steel liners, which is probably easier and helps keep the cost of production down, if you wanted to do bring this up, make it a triangle so that the pivot and this bolt are what hold in the steel that you need for the bearings, and then just make the rest of the aluminum and kind of have it step. So it's semi-nested. I think that would be cool, but really not a big complaint here. It's nice and solid, guys. What do you think about the Bel Air? Let me know down in the comments below. Really enjoyed checking this one out. This was my favorite of the two Kershaws that came in. I love this one. This is great. Easy recommendation. Thank you to everyone for watching to this point of the video. It does help the channel. Leave a like on your way out if you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join. A special thank you to my channel members. You guys giving that extra layer of support is greatly appreciated. I love all of you. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.